What is good, everyone out there in social media world? YouTube, uh, Twitter, TikTok. Actually, no, we're not on TikTok yet. Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Pod, Google Pod, whatever pod. Everything that you got out there that you're listening to us on. We are so thankful for that. And welcome back to our next episode, Mark. I think this episode 7. Like that's how long we've been doing this now.
I
Episode
couldn't
7.
tell you. I couldn't tell you what number it is. I mean, I'm glad to be back, though. It's always good to get on here. I just enjoy getting on here and talking about football, life, and God. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It's always fun. And of course, one thing that we always talk about, before we get into of course, week 1's over, week 2's coming up. We've got some other things to talk about. But first, Mark, my dearly brother, who I love so much, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. How are you? It's been a stressful day. I'm not going to lie. It's been one of those days where you're just like, you hit your limit. You're just like, oh, my goodness, I'm going to lose my mind. But this kind of gives me a relief from that. I can jump back in and just come in and just talk.
Absolutely. And I would say the same here. Of course, I've talked to you a little bit what's going on. I won't share too much, but yesterday our families, like our whole family, had cross country here in Harlan County High School, where pretty much Lawson's ran about, I think there were about 100 elementary age kids, and I'm pretty sure we had 15 of them. No, Alex, in all seriousness, I had 2, you had 1, Britt had 2. So, I mean, did we leave any out?
I don't think so.
I think that's it. That's all the Lawson that ran. Because
I count
right now.
every one of those kids I teach. I count them as my kids.
Right. So it was fun times watching my oldest daughter, who is 6 years old. She's in 2nd grade. She placed 9th out of all the elementary girls. I was very proud of her. She did a very good job. My son is the spitting image of me and all assets of that, even the way we like to run. It's, love you, Micah. Keep on trying, man. But with that being said, let's go ahead and Mark, I'll let you introduce our guest. And of course, I haven't said who our guest is, and I put the title "Walking Onto a Scholarship." Hopefully, that people can figure this out, because it's kind of been the social media of Kentucky right now. What's going on, other than free Big Z? But I'll let you do the introduction here.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a young man that played for Boyle County High School, and he's a sophomore this year at the University of Kentucky. I'd like to welcome Mr. Cole Lanter to the show. Cole, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Man,
okay, I clicked him on. Is he not?
Yeah, there he is. There he is.
Okay, there we go. I heard him talk, but there was no picture.
Man, how's it going?
I'm doing well. I'm still high on life from last Monday, so can't really complain too much.
Awesome.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about it.
I've got the clip here. If you don't care, I would like to try to share this to see if I can get it. And let's see if I can get it to pull up. And oh no. Here we go. Boom.
Himself. He wanted to be a part of this program, and we wanted to award him a scholarship.
I love it.
The team's excited. Well,
I got to ask, what were you thinking? Did you know they were getting ready to offer you a scholarship right there?
So originally I had no idea. I had a few people come up to me and be like, Cole, I think today's your day. I think you're lucky today. And I was like, what are y'all talking about? Because our Monday practices are they're pretty chill. They're like a walkthrough install kind of day. And so I was like, what's going on? I got FCA tonight, but other than that, what big's going to happen? We get up there and I see the camera, and Coach Stoops normally, when they're doing announcements, he'll kind of look at the whole team. But I catch him looking at me out of the corner of his eye. And then I catch the camera and I'm like, this isn't about to happen, is it? So I get butterflies instantly, stomach drops, hands shaking. And then he pulls me up and I was like, God, there's no way. Please don't play a joke on me. Right now, please. And then, everybody jumped up and I didn't have time to think because I got tackled and my foot stepped on. But it was awesome. I totally was not expecting it coming into practice Monday.
I tell you what I loved about it so much was just how happy your teammates were for you too.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people don't realize the family that a football team is. They're your brothers, right?
Oh yeah. And I used to think college football was way different than high school. You grow up with your high school friends and you automatically love each other. I thought college was kind of a bunch of individuals before I got here, but no, the second you step on campus, regardless of if you're a walk-on or scholarship guy, those guys love you, and like you're competing every day, but they love you like a brother, and it's just so awesome to be a part of.
Yeah, so let's talk about that a little bit. You talked about like the high school. Now you played at Boyle County High School, right?
Yes, sir.
Now we were talking a little bit. You were saying a lot of the way that they practice kind of carried over into what you're doing at college now.
Oh yeah. So in the spring, starting your freshman year, we have this thing called Rebel Boot Camp, and it is nothing short of boot camp. And you're there every morning, 6:15, lifting from about 6:15 to about 8:30. And like you shower and everything after that, but it's every day. We have spring ball, full pads. You're always hitting, and it was just nonstop, cutthroat, 24/7. And our coaches pushed us constantly. Like we were lifting on game days, and they weren't breaking our bodies down, but it was the mental toughness, adversity aspect that they wanted to drill into our heads. And it was just such a blessing to be a part of that, because a lot of the guys I came in with were shell shocked coming here, but I stepped in and it was just another day back at my high school. But it was just really a blessing to come from where I came from.
Yeah, I was telling you about how it's amazing to me, like Boyle County, year in and year out, man, they have a solid football program.
Oh yeah.
It's just one of those things. Like we were talking. I said, man, I expect another Corbin Boyle County almost fight for the state championship this year. It's going to be a battle.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of good teams in 4A right now too. So
one thing I want to kind of ask you, if you don't mind, is sorry, Mark, we kind of was going at the same time. Of course, you had some different opportunities where you could go different schools, and of course, you chose to bet on yourself, as Stoop said in the video. Choose to walk on to Kentucky, move on, and of course, you've earned a scholarship now. What were some of the other places that you had offers at, and what made you to decide with Kentucky?
So I had a few NAIA D2, D3 offers, but those all came like before my senior season, and then during my senior year, I got offered by Murray State and EKU. But before they offered me, I was already talking to Coach Perry and Coach Marrow a little bit about coming to UK and like walking on and all that. Mm-hmm. But when they finally offered me the PWO, I just sat down with my parents and I was like, guys, I want to play college football. And so I was leaning towards Murray or EKU just because, you want to go where you feel wanted. And it's not that I didn't feel wanted at Kentucky, but the money aspect will, give you a little, like a sense of pull. And my mom just looked at me and she's like, oh, like playing Division I football is a big accomplishment, but do you want to play for a smaller Division I team, or do you want to play in front of 65,000 fans that love you because of the colors you wear? And I was just like, well, if you put it that way, I'm pretty dumb if I don't go to UK. So, but yeah, she said I promised her, I was like, Mom, you only got to pay for a year. And she gave me a year and a half. And then I am where I am. So
I think it's awesome that you put in the work, man. Like, and they saw that, you know what I mean? They respected that. They saw that, and they rewarded you with that scholarship. I love it.
Yes, sir.
So, we were talking a little bit. Did you say it was your senior year when you got hurt?
It was junior going into senior year, and then I battled injuries all senior year. But yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah, it seems like once you get one injury, it seems like others keep popping up, right?
Oh my Lord. Torn hamstring going into senior year, finally healed. Dislocated shoulder week 2 because of Xavier Brown at Virginia now. My shoulder hit his knee and it was just over for me. And then later on in the year, week 10 in practice, I dislocated my shoulder again and then tore my groin week 12.
Holy.
Yeah, it was bad deal.
It sounds like you had a battle the entire year.
Yeah, it was pretty miserable, but I had 60 guys I had to play for and that I loved tremendously. So, and we had a really good athletic training staff, and Coach Haddix did a very good job at keeping me safe and limiting me up to what I could take. So it wasn't me.
Awesome. Michael, you got something?
No, my just a kid text right there. Sorry, I was just checking in. It's bedtime in here. It can get a little crazy when you have some young ones. So sorry about that. Was looking at there. Cole, if you don't care, can you talk a little bit about some of your family tradition as far as walking on, playing on, and moving forward as well too? Just how that kind of molded you as well.
Yeah. So growing up, I always idolized my uncle, Bo Lanter. He walked on and played basketball at the University of Kentucky with like Sam Bowie and some of those other guys. And just knowing that I had people that, played in the blue and white and bled blue just like I did, it was just crazy to me to, look at those guys and not be in awe of them. And then his son, Todd, my cousin, he walked on and he played with guys like Willie Cauley-Stein and Devin Booker and Tyler Eulis, and he was on the 38-1 team. And it was just like, from a young age, I knew where my heart led and I knew where my heart stayed. And I love this state more than anything. And I love the blue and white more than and it's just, it was almost like it was instilled in me to come here and figure out a way to make it work.
We've talked about it before too. It's almost like there's something special and magical when a Kentucky boy comes to Kentucky. It's just, I don't know. You just love it.
Oh yeah. Bouvier got a hold of me the other day on Instagram, and we talked a little bit, and I told him, I was like, I was a big fan of yours when you were at UK, and then I found out you went to Lexington Catholic, and it kind of set me back a little bit. But no, he was cool. I've always, that was my dream, watching him and Charles Walker. So it's really special.
So I got a question. Now being from Kentucky, when you have a home game there at Kroger Field, when you step in that tunnel, you're getting ready to run out. What's the feeling? I got to know.
Well, so my first time, your mind goes blank. Because the most people I've played in front of is 14,000, and that was my sophomore year state championship game. But then you run out there, the 14,000 compared to 65,000 it's unreal. And you're sitting there and you're in the middle of everything, and you run out on the field and you get goosebumps no matter how hot it is, and you're just overwhelmed with the people looking at you, the people cheering, people that know your name and you have no idea who they are. It's the greatest feeling ever. I can't describe it.
Well, let me ask you this way. Do you have any weird superstition pre-game things that you do, or what's the craziest one in the locker room that you're like, whoa, I can't believe that guy does that?
The only thing, I don't do anything weird. It's just the day before in practice, I'll wear whatever gloves and cleats I'm going to wear. And then I always do a backflip in the end zone before a game. I don't know why, but that was my thing in high school. I'd do a handshake with a friend and step back into a backflip. But that's the only weird thing, I guess. And I don't know. One of the weird things is maybe, I don't know, I've watched Barryon take down a lot of wings the night before a game, a crazy amount of chicken wings for somebody our size. So I don't know. Maybe that might take it.
Okay. So nobody's like, hey, I'm not washing anything until we lose or anything like that. So thank goodness.
We don't have any grub worms, thankfully. So
true, man. That makes for a bad locker room experience if that happens.
Yeah.
So we've had Coach Morrow on our team, or on our show, back when we coach, AAU football, Pee Wee, whatever. But and one thing that he was talking about is the family, the camaraderie that him and Coach Stoops had from when they were kids and everything, growing up, and how they got along with everything and how they've kind of implemented into the family. Is this something that you can? I mean, is he telling us the truth? You can see this with all the coaches; they all get along. It comes in with you all as players. Is this something that you possibly in the future would maybe be coaching as well and look up to their style on this?
Oh yeah, one thing that I really take from our coaching staff is just the genuine love and care that they have for everybody in the facility. It doesn't matter if you're an athletic trainer, a player, or a nutritionist, from top to bottom, they love you and they're very grateful that you're there. And it just makes me want to be a better man and a better dad one day and a better future husband, because the way they love and the way they have the passion for what they do just rubs off on everyone around them. And like I said, it's from top to bottom, and they're the most genuine people you ever meet. They don't just put on a front to the media or to people, donors, what they say, they truly mean. And it's pretty remarkable that you find a group of people that, are from the same area and grew up together, and, they stick together this long and just rub off on people like me and other people in the facility.
It's kind of amazing how God will put people in your life that you need at certain times, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to ask you a tough question here. Now, I know you may not be able to say, I don't know, truthfully on this. Kentucky hates Tennessee. We always have, Then there's the Florida hate as well. playing sophomore, you've had a year under there. What team in the SEC that just gets under your skin the most? It could be because of the fan. You don't have to say why, but it could be like, fans are a little, turd-ass, or what? Like, what team that you don't like playing at or playing against?
I would
just destroy.
Well, so growing up a Kentucky fan, I hate that gaudy orange, but so I would say Tennessee. I would definitely say Tennessee.
That sounds good to me. I'm fine with that. But as I've gotten older, the Tennessee hate's not as bad. I can't stand Florida anymore. I mean, and we have their number really here in the past little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, to me, it's almost a hatred more to Florida than Tennessee anymore. But I don't know. I had to drive to Tennessee a few times, so the only thing on my FM radio was like 100.3, and they talked about Tennessee sports. I'm like, golly.
Yeah.
Mark, you got anything real quick? I got to get a drink after that dumb question.
Somebody just said Tennessee is Michael's second favorite team.
Hey, Jared, now easy. You know better than that. Now, Jared, you know who used to wear a Tennessee shirt in this family, and it was the guy in the middle of all three of our cameras.
I actually did not wear a Tennessee shirt. I had a Tennessee.
You had a hat.
I had a buddy that was a big Tennessee fan.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes we let our friends lead us astray. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It
now,
can happen.
As soon as you hear that song come on, Rocky Top, I'm sure like everyone cringes on that still. So, I mean, the Tennessee hate's still there.
Yeah, but the fun fact is that song was written by guys from Kentucky. So
from Kentucky, from Leslie County, too.
Yeah. So, but Cole, we don't want to keep you too long. Michael, do you have any hot seat questions for us?
Well, Cole, usually I like to try to fire off a few random questions because I'm ADHD. And just kind of hit you here and there with a few. I won't do too many if you're cool with it. Just quick answers, and we'll get through this because I know you've got stuff to get to, and we want to be respectful of that time, okay?
No, I love it. Let me hear them.
Oh, thank you, Jared. This just was dear to my heart that you said that. This goes back to my other podcast I used to do with baseball. I had a co-host that said blue cheese, hands down, is so much better than ranch, and like he received so much hatred for a long time on that. So I'm going to ask you, since you even talked about buffalo wings already, what kind of sauce do you use?
Ranch all the way. You go.
See, we knew you were a smart man.
Yeah, like blue cheese is like molded ranch. I mean, it's nasty. Okay,
that's one of the seven deadly sins. Oh, favorite food, sushi, 100%.
Sushi?
I love sushi.
So, do you like to fish?
See, I have ADHD. Well, my mom claims I do, but I don't think I do. I can't sit with a fishing pole. I end up swimming 10 minutes in. So,
okay, that's why I like to. Go ahead, Mark.
I said our dad just put on here. There are two teams, Kentucky and anybody playing Tennessee.
See, I like to fish, and I know I'm ADHD, but that's why I like to bass fish because you work the lures, whatever. Yeah. Like you can be occupied. Dad, he likes the crappie fish, and Mark does too. And you just hold a pole and just sit there. I'm like, this is the most boring thing ever. Like I'm watching gnats literally land on me and bite me. Like this is not fun at all.
Yeah.
Someone asked here, what would you go with it, chicken or fish?
Well, if his favorite food is sushi, I think I know the answer to that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go fish. I love mahi. That's one of my favorite. Oh yeah,
that is good. I've caught one once. Favorite superhero?
Oh, Green Lantern.
Oh,
Green Lantern. Okay. So let me ask you this then: Marvel or DC?
I like Marvel more.
Okay.
He's a character.
All right. What will you do after football is done? And that's not just playing; it could be coaching, whatever. What would be your next thing?
I would love to be like a preacher, a pastor, or maybe like a missionary of some sort. Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's see here. I mean, I don't really want to ask any other questions after that one. Like that. That's the best answer so far. So we'll call it quits on that one.
I got one question for you. Who's the goofball on the team? Like, who's the guy that gets everybody laughing? Like in those times when you're not supposed to be laughing. You know what I mean? Who's the goofball?
In the receiver room, it's either Barryon Brown or DeKel Crowdis. They are two of the funniest people I've ever met. On the whole team, I would have to say, I don't know. Zion's pretty funny. I'll give to Zion. Zion's pretty funny.
All right.
I just wondered that because there's always that one teammate like that gets you in trouble at times when you shouldn't.
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure.
That was never me, so I don't have to worry about that at all. So, Cole, before we send you off here, what can we expect this coming week 2? More passing, more running, even higher scoring? What do you think is going to come out on this one? I mean, you can't give us game plan, but what are we looking for?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. Right now, I don't know what I'm allowed to say, but we're just going to prepare like we would every other game, whether it's EKU, Alabama.
Sounds great.
It didn't matter to us, but we're just going to go out there, and I think we're going to focus on fixing a lot of mistakes we made last week.
Right.
Like a little bit with pass pro, a little bit with sloppy technique out on the outside, like in our routes and in our blocking. And I think we're just going to overall try and better our game on both the ground and in the air. So I think it'll be a good mixture of both.
Is there any noise about some of the other player or other coaches on EKU being mentioned, like Conrad, some of that? Is there any chirping going on there?
A little bit between our GAs because everybody loves CJ here at UK, but now that he's the enemy, we've heard a little bit at practice. So
yeah,
I'm looking forward to seeing him though. He's a good dude.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I want to tell you, we appreciate you joining us more than man. It was good getting to meet you. You seem like an incredible young man. Go Big Blue.
Yes, sir. Go Big Blue. Appreciate you guys.
All right. Thanks, man. Thanks for joining. Have a good one.
Yes, sir.
That was awesome.
Right. Yes, sir.
Very nice young man. It's not every day that you get to interview a college athlete and they tell you what they want to do after football is become a preacher, a missionary, or something of that nature. That's kind of refreshing,
Because at sophomore in college, I was not thinking anything like that at all, which is not I'm being bad on that. I'm just saying, he seems like he's got his head on straight already.
Yeah, awesome. Just in our conversations, talking back and forth, him and I on Instagram, because he didn't even enroll really until the mid-year. He enrolled in January of 2022, so he wouldn't have really got to be on the football team much. You see what I'm saying? Until this season. So, and I just think it's awesome. It shows what a work ethic this young man has, that here he is, started the 2023 season. Coach Stoops offers him a scholarship. And I mean, just getting to talk to him, you can kind of see why. You know what I mean? Just seems like he's a hard worker, and coming from Boyle County, he's got some roots with football. And
winning's in the blood there.
Yeah, it's just an awesome young man.
Awesome, as you said yourself there. All right, Mark, we'll move on over to our next little segment here that we got. I say little a lot. Last week we did do our predicts. I've got them written down here. You went mostly with SEC. There's a couple that I switched just so we could have some combat going on there. So we will go ahead and get into our week 1 review, and that's basically just going to be highlighting the games. Let me go and grab my shared screen that I've got here.
I think the only one that I missed was the South Carolina, North Carolina. Or I probably missed the LSU, Florida State too.
You missed that one too, but I wasn't going to call you out. So we both had Vandy. Let's see here.
Vandy had already played when we had our show, so it's kind of
okay. I was going to say. So we both had Utah. We both had Missouri. We both had Tennessee. Excuse me. We both had Kentucky, of course. We both had Arkansas in that big landslide, which Arkansas now has gotten some votes in the top 25. I can't remember. They got more than Kentucky now. Kentucky, they're looking at right now 28 in the AP. I'm sorry, 28 in the coaches poll, and I think 30 in the AP. And I think Arkansas is just right ahead of us on that right now. We both picked Ole Miss, who won heavily on that one. We both picked Auburn, Mississippi State, Georgia. I picked New Mexico, and you had Texas A&M. I was dumb on that one, so you've got the edge there. We both went with Vandy the second game. We went with Alabama. I picked North Carolina, and you picked South Carolina, so I won that one. And then I picked Florida State. You picked LSU. So technically, I got one more than you. You are the worst person alive.
That's fine. I mean, I'm fine with that. Like, I just come on here to talk about it, man. I claim to be no great guru of football. I'm not. It's hard for me to bet against the SEC. There's a lot of people actually talking smack about, I think it was the Pac-12 or someone that actually didn't lose a game this first weekend. But I mean, some of those were some tough matchups. I mean, when you're the 5 and the 18 playing at that point, you're close together. So it's kind of like it's kind of hard to judge who's going to be better in that situation.
Oh yeah, especially when it's basically, still preseason, a week 0, if you will. Pac-12, Jared said it was the undefeated. The North Carolina and South Carolina. People are saying South Carolina is a really good team this year. North Carolina's just ranked inside the top 25. It was a close game as far as going head to head. Who could win on that? And of course, the Florida State LSU matchup. It was numbers wise, it looked really.
It was close for a while, and it just seemed like Florida State just kind of pulled away at the end there. And I know I actually watched one of the videos where a quarterback tried to do a snake up the middle and tried to leap over the line, and a linebacker utterly destroyed him. And it was one of those. It was at that moment he knew he'd messed up. It was one of those videos, and it paused right there, and he took a lick.
Gotcha. But honestly, Mark, you were 12-2, and I am 13-1 from week 1. That's pretty good. Let's be honest. SEC, if you go with that, you're probably going to do well on your bets. Speaking of which, granted, neither of us are probably going to get into this, but tomorrow starts the very first time that you could bet in Kentucky. And with that, just kind of throwing this in there, they have Kentucky at 7.5 over under is where they're coming in at.
Honestly, I've never been one to know a lot about the sport betting. I could probably maybe pick a team that might win, but I wouldn't be the one to ask about betting advice.
Well, only thing that I bring up, because betting is big in the sports. You can't deny that. But to me, you and I both, I think even when we talked about the games, we said 8 or 9, possibly even 10 wins for this team. So, seeing them come in at 7.5, that would be nice, I feel like. It's going to be a South Carolina and I think it's Ole Miss that are the two, or Mississippi State. There's two of the games would be the questionable ones that they could lose or win. That would put them over either side on that. Yeah. But I think week 1, I think we did pretty good, actually.
I'm proud of us.
Week 1's easy. It's usually the easier game. So,
of course, I would miss the ones that are the harder ones. I missed the LSU and the Florida State and the ones where it was ranked teams playing. But
right, that's okay. We forgive you on one.
I appreciate that.
All right, moving into week 2, we're going to go ahead and pick them for week 2, Mark, or do you want to talk about the Kentucky EKU game first?
Well, let's talk a little bit about the Kentucky Ball State game.
Ball State, yeah, that's what I meant. I said EKU, but let's.
I've seen a lot of different takes from it. I've heard a lot of different people talking about it. Some people weren't impressed. Some people were saying, hey, still not bad. I don't think we played our best football. I don't. I think Devin Leary, getting back into it, he may be a little rusty, but that's okay. That's why you play these games early on to prepare yourself for when you get into SEC play. So, there were some things that I think we needed to fix. And it's kind of like what Jared's saying right there. The QB and the receivers got to get on the same page, and that's going to come with time. You know what I mean? And when that happens, I also felt like Leary got rushed some. And, we had Kenneth Horsey go down. That's a big loss at lineman. I think he's a 5th-year senior. Luckily, they're saying they think he will be back. They don't think it's season ending, the last I saw on that. So I think once we get some of those, and it's like Cole was saying, some of those little things tweaked and adjusted, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, and I agree with you. What's bothersome for me is our offense didn't really run too many plays. And, I did hear, I think it was on the Tom Leach show with Stoops that talked about they ran 11 offensive plays, which I think they ran more than that because I think Leary threw for 12 or 14 passes. So I don't know what exactly he was referring to on that. Might have been the first half or something, but he said, we didn't really run that many plays, and that's a little scary for him too because, you've got to get that conditioning is what he's talking about, game conditioning. Their offense lacked that going into the second week, and they didn't get to play because their defense played well. The defense basically scored 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
But one was called back. So, the defense did play well. They gave up a lot of third downs, a lot of third and fourth downs, which lot of talk, at least from media side, newspapers, articles, whatnot, are talking about how it was some of the X's and O's were just trying to be bigger X's and O's, doing too much is what everyone was referring to.
Well, you're hot. First game of the year. First game at home. You're going to have a little bit of that, the blood just pumping a little too fast.
The extra power, a little extra. Because even Leary referred to it once. He said, I was trying to do too much. basically trying to do home runs on every play when, hey, get the 5-yard pass, do it 2 or 3 times. You already moved the chains. You're in a routine now. You're comfortable. The defense don't know what to do. Now you're ready for your big bomb plays. So I think, a second game, EKU, it's not going to be a slouch game, in my opinion. I think it could be a close game if EKU comes out first and scores first and comes out physical. Obviously, I think Kentucky should come on top on this one by 14 points or more. But I'm saying EKU has a chance where they can make noise on this game. But with that being said,
well, I mean, we've seen those games before too. I think it was not too long ago, several years ago, when EKU was a rainy day and they actually came back and beat us. How many years ago was that? That was.
I think it's been a long time, and it's been over a decade at least.
I say a long time. Been quite that long, but I mean, I remember that happening though. I remember it happening.
Was it during Stoops' era though?
I couldn't tell you that.
I don't think it was in Stoops' era, and he's been there, I think, for 11 years. But it is fresh. We're getting old. Jared says it's been
true.
a hot minute.
It has been a hot minute. Maybe it's just because I'm old. I remember that game though. I remember what happened.
How disappointing. Yeah. But so I think week 2 we're going to see a lot more discipline through the linemen, because I think we had about 4 or 5 early penalties too. So if we could clean up some of that, yes, some of the linemen went down preseason even, and now even in the middle of the game, week 1. So there's going to be some crazy stuff on that. But when Leary gets on the right page, I think with the weapons we have at tight ends, the depth we have there, plus our wide receivers, Key making a couple big plays deep, and then our running game. Like Davis rushed, I think, 11 times only, and he had over 100 yards. So, I mean, 2 touchdowns as well, and caught 3 passes, I think. So I think discipline is definitely going to be what we got to overcome with this, and stay at home, basically, stay at check. Of course, Johnny's kind of agreeing with me here. Probably a whole lot of discipline for sure. So
just cleaning up those things that you noticed that you were not doing right in week 1. That's the key with these games.
Absolutely. But before we move on, Mark, I do want to share with everyone something that I just posted on Instagram and our X page. Guys, we do have a sponsorship. Want to give out that shout out real quick with, here we go. Boom. Our solid player of the week, or of the game. I have it pulled up here, I think. Is it showing on your screen?
Yeah, it's Snell Concrete. Solid player of the game.
Awesome. And, of course, the player is Ray Davis that I was talking to. 14 rushes. 14 attempts with 112 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, 5 receptions for 10 yards. His longest run was for 30 yards. This is brought to you by the SNL Concrete. Of course, the owner is Jason Hill with his phone number there. He is, I want to say he is doing Eastern Kentucky, parts of West Virginia, and Southeast Tennessee as well. So if you guys need any concrete service, give Jason a call at 606-273-1144. Mark, were you pretty pleased with the way Davis played?
Yeah, I really was. I thought he ran the ball well. He hit the holes, did a good job of cutting and changing direction when he needed to. But I mean, we knew what we had when he was coming in. You know what I mean? He was a heck of a running back. We saw him when he was at Vandy some. So I tell you, I think the thing that impressed me the most, but I still believe that we can still grow from, I do believe, is our defense. Trevin Wallace really impressed me this weekend. That young man had 12 tackles. 6 of those were solo tackles. He had 2 tackles for losses. And I just feel like that our defense, if we keep putting pressure on the opposing quarterback, man, they can make some big things happen.
Yeah, defense looked really well. It was almost hard not to give it to the defense, how well they played. But for our first week, I wanted to we both agreed that we wanted to give it to Davis on this, just for the play they did. So, I think this is great. At least what we can see can come and build on this. You agree?
Yeah.
There's always going to be flaws in your first game, the mental lapse and everything going on, but I'm really excited for this EKU matchup and see how we move forward.
A lot of it's shaking off the cobwebs. Let's just be honest, because you are going to go and practice hard, but practice is, even if you're scrimmaging, it's so much different than a live game. Because you don't know what's coming from the other side. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know what to expect. When you're scrimmaging against guys you play with, you kind of know them and you kind of know what to expect from them.
Mm-hmm.
When you're playing a different opponent, even though you watch film on them, you can't always predict what's going to happen. So it's one of those things where I do believe that, like I said, it's just knocking the cobwebs off, getting back, because Leary's coming. That's his first game since his injury.
Mm-hmm.
It's just getting things set right. Like I see a lot of potential for this team.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. Before we move on, just want to give out another shout out real quick. Jason Hill, the owner of SNL Concrete, serving all of Eastern Kentucky and parts of Eastern Tennessee with 20 plus years experience and is fully insured, brings us our solid player of the game for week 1, and that goes to Ray Davis.
We appreciate you, Mr. Hill.
Yes, sir.
All right. So about this upcoming game you were talking about.
Yes, sir.
What are your predictions in this one?
I haven't looked too much into what our expectations or what are already being predicted. No, Jared. Hold the phone. What is this, Mark?
No, but hey, Jared, don't let him act like I've not got it. I've still got it set in here. I'll actually show him. I've still got the whole pile of cards that you sent, and I've still got the one with Michael's name on it. It's right here. I've just not seen him to give it to him, but I've got it, and we appreciate you sending us those Ellie De La Cruz cards and the other Reds cards you sent me.
Jared, this is the first time I'm hearing anything about
this. He's lying, Jared. I told him I had a card.
Thank you for bringing this to my attention, and I appreciate that. Guys, go follow Jared actually on YouTube. I think it's called Ripped, where he's opening up wax cards, breaking them up live, and seeing what he comes through. Is that right, Jared? Is it called Ripped?
Well, it's not wax cards anymore, Michael. We're not.
I'm sorry, we're old. I mean, the cards, okay, cards. But yeah, he's been doing a few episodes on there on YouTube. If you want to, Jared, just go ahead and here we go.
Yeah, Ripped 677. You need to go give him a follow, give him a watch. He does a great job with that, and we appreciate him tuning in here. And I do appreciate that Ellie De La Cruz card because UK and Reds, it's all what it's always been. So
I wish I could appreciate it, Jared, but it's not made it to my house yet. So
you can from right here. See, there you go. I will get it to you. Let's be honest, though. We've talked about it before. We live close together. We don't actually see each other physically that often.
You're right, Mark. Did I not actually see you yesterday?
You did, but did I have the card in my back pocket? No. So let's move on.
About this. So with this EKU Kentucky matchup, I actually think EKU is going to come out and punch us in the mouth. I really do. I think Conrad's going to have a lot to pump the guys up with, like, hey, man, that's my team. This is what they're going to do. Get ready for this. And, my mind slips me on who else is a former Kentucky player there. Cannot think of it right now to save my life. But I know there's a couple former Kentucky players or coaches that are with the EKU that I think they're going to come out and actually probably score on us first. I'm going to say that. But I think Kentucky says, hold up, we are the more powerhouse, and we're going to come back and take on with this. So I'm going to actually say that I think the final score is going to be, what was it, 42 this time? I'm going to say that we're going to go
44-14 was the final in the first game.
44-14. I think we hold EKU, even though I'm saying they score first. I think we hold them to 10 points, and I think we're going to get, I want to say, I'm going to go with 41.
Well, I mean, I'm like you. I kind of look for them not to score more than twice. I looked at their week 1. They played Cincinnati, which that Bearcat football program is always a pretty decent program. Now, they're not ranked this year, but they put a pretty good hurting on Eastern Kentucky University, 66-13 in that one. Mm-hmm. And, that was a game where it seemed like a lot did not go right for EKU. Mm-hmm. Parker McKinney, their quarterback, it said he threw for 177 yards. He was 13-24. He had 1 TD and 2 INTs. So it's going to be on our DBs there to probably – because honestly, they really kind of had a platoon going with the running. They had, I see Carter, Hergott, Latham, Sloan, McGlure, and McKinney, the quarterback. All those guys had carries. Mm-hmm. So it's almost one of those situations where you don't know who you're going to see in the backfield. They did end up with 125 yards on the ground, 177 through the air. Not bad numbers, but like if you're going to be playing upper echelon talent, you got to put more. You got to have more production.
What word did you just say?
Echelon, upper echelon talent.
Listen, that's higher in my vocabulary. You know that. Whew.
Dad actually said he doesn't think EKU has beat Kentucky in the last 20 years. He thinks the closest score was 34-37 that one year. Maybe that's the game I'm remembering where they almost came back and beat us, but they didn't. So maybe I was mistaken earlier. But I believe as long as their defense steps up, we clean up a lot of these things that the little things, because like there were some plays I noticed in that Ball State game where they shouldn't have even got positive yardage, and they did.
Right.
Maybe just a missed assignment, a missed tackle. So I think if we clean those things up, I think they'll be fine. I think your prediction about 41-10, something like that, 44-14, another score similar to that, I think it's very possible. Now, do I believe we can put up? Listen, I'm not into all that.
You've got to.
I don't have to.
Yes, you do.
I have to pick a score.
Yes.
Kentucky wins. Too much to not enough. How's that?
Boo. The fans are already in my DM saying that was stupid.
All right. I'm going to give you a prediction. Are you ready?
Yes.
I'm going to say. See, he put me on the spot here.
I really wanted to say 50, but I didn't want to say 52 because, does that even mathematically work out 7 times? What's 52? No, I'm not going to say 52.
You got to realize other things can happen too. I mean, there's always a chance for safety.
Field
there's
goals.
Always a chance with field goals, missed extra point, all that kind of stuff. So, give me 49-14.
49-14. Do you remember what we picked last week? I wrote it down, but stupid me, I didn't think about putting our names on it.
I mean, I think we both said they were going to win big. I don't think
we said there was 35-14, 35-21, and 35-10. I can't remember which one Cash put down. I think he said 35-10. I thought I said 35-21. I don't think I would have said that.
What did I say?
I think you said 35-14. I think I said 35-14.
I don't think so.
You don't?
I really don't remember. You can.
I really can't remember.
So Johnny giving a bold prediction right here. Oh, I think I pulled it up. There we go. I'd say 52-13.
Johnny.
We'll write Johnny's down. We're going to hold you to this, buddy. So anybody else got a prediction on this game? I really do believe Kentucky's got a chance that they can put up a lot of points if they're clicking on offense. So.
100%. All right, so that, and of course, if you guys put in in the comments, I will write the score down. But Mark, we'll keep on moving with the week 2. Pull this up here. Going back to this slide, and I got to change the week, so bear with me here. Uh-oh.
We're on week 2 in the SEC.
Yes, sir.
I've not really got to look. I've had a crazy, hectic week, like you're talking about cross country, and I got a weekend coming up that's even crazier. So
this is as fresh with me as well. This is my first time looking at it as well.
So,
I'm actually, for the first game, I'm going to pick Wake Forest over Vandy.
I think, Wake Forest, I mean, they played Elon first game of the year, so it's kind of hard to judge based on that. Mm-hmm. I don't know much about Wake Forest this year. I've not heard a lot about them. Give me Vandy. I got to be different with you. I got to go SEC right there.
And, I mean, that's really fine on that one. The second game, we've got Ball State against number 1 Georgia. I think we're in unison when we say Ball State here.
Ball State, yeah. Let's be honest. I believe Georgia, especially being at home, they're going to take care of business. That's the only thing that kind of gets me about the Vandy Wake Forest. Kind of worried, with it being at home at Wake, but we'll see. Next game, I got Kentucky all day over Eastern.
Right.
I believe that Ole Miss Tulane game is going to be a good one.
Yeah, as of right now for the podcasters, this game is going to be on ESPN2. On our screen, it has Ole Miss ranked 20, Tulane ranked at 24. It being at Tulane, I really want to go with Tulane as well because I do think home court or home field helps tremendously. But
I'm going Ole Miss.
I'm going to go with Ole Miss here.
Another game, man. There's some good games this week. Texas A&M at Miami. Now, let's be honest. This Miami team's not the Miami team of old.
Of old, right?
We do know that. But, man.
It's still Miami.
It's still Miami, and it's at Miami. This could be a trap game for Texas A&M.
I'm going to go ahead and say Texas A&M. I apologize for not picking you last week, and I can't remember who I picked over you all. But
last week for Texas A&M, is that what you're saying?
Yes, when I picked
New Mexico.
I apologize for that disgrace that I've given you all, so I will pick you all here for sure.
Now, if you look at this one on ESPN, I'm going. I'm looking at the Ole Miss Tulane. This is Texas A&M and Miami. I mean, dude, it's very close, and I think the home field advantage is giving Miami the edge. They got a Miami at a 53.2% win percentage, and Texas A&M at a 46.8. Give me the underdog. I'm going to go Texas A&M.
All right. And then the next game, we've got Kent State going to Arkansas on SEC Network.
You know, the Hogs, they shouldn't have too much trouble there. And then that's not taking anything away from Kent State. I don't know anything about Kent State, but I'm just saying Arkansas put together a very good ball game last week, and Kent State got beat by UCF 56-6. So could see another score similar to that.
Arkansas is really looking like they're a pretty good team this year. I did that on purpose.
It's always looked like that. I think that's why the English language is so hard for people to understand.
For real. Of course, next week on the next game, I said next week, SEC Network Plus and ESPN Plus is Austin Peay versus the number 9 Tennessee Horrible Volunteers.
I believe Tennessee's going to win that one.
I think big time as well. Next game after that, it's number 11 Texas travels to number 3 Alabama.
Man, that's going to be a fun one as well.
Yeah, I'm going to Alabama here because Texas in the past few years have been nothing but offense, and they forget about the defensive side. And I feel like
it is at Alabama. It's at Alabama. I believe Alabama's going to win that one.
Man, we're not different on anything yet. I don't like that.
Yeah, we are. I picked Vandy. You picked Wake Forest.
Okay. Next game we have Middle Tennessee State University against. I love that some of these teams that we're actually playing are these locals that we can actually identify. Missouri, and of course that game is on ESPN Plus as well.
I'm going to go Missouri.
I thought you was going to say Middle Tennessee State. I'm going to go the Miz as well here. What's the next game while I'm writing?
The next game's Grambling and LSU. I believe LSU is going to bounce back after that loss. I believe they get this one.
I agree. McNeese against Florida.
Man, Florida has really struggled here lately.
Florida's down.
I've actually heard Florida fans talking about, I just can't watch them until they get a new coach. So
really?
There's some grumblings there. So, and I'm talking, this was die-hard Florida fan. Mr. Hall out there, he just was like, man, I talked to him this weekend at the event I was DJing. And he was like, man, he said, I won't go to a game hardly right now.
Really?
Even if I could. So, your team's struggling when your diehard fans are saying that. So I believe they're going to bounce back here, and I believe they are going to get the win here. And Jared just put New Florida, Old Kentucky. So.
Yeah, I'm going Florida as well. Even though it's tempting to actually not pick Florida here. But McNeese, that's a name that I can't really say that I'm going to pick for an upset. Now, this next game at 7:30 on SEC Network is Arizona travels to Mississippi State. I'm actually going to go Arizona here.
Not me. I'm going with State. I gotta go with State on this one just because it's at home for Mississippi State. I gotta go with Mississippi State.
Okay, Arizona is a decent team. I think they can actually pull an upset.
They are, but I'm just going to say I don't see them beating Mississippi State at Mississippi State.
Okay, and let's see here. 2 more games. We've got Furman against South Carolina.
South Carolina is going to bounce back. Jared just put against State at home. Wow, Michael.
Hey, I can pick a game, can I?
The Auburn California game is the one that's got me kind of bumfuzzled because California they usually have a pretty decent team. This game is at California, so it's going to put Auburn on the road. Man, it's hard to go against the SEC here, but Cal does have a pretty good team. Mm-hmm. Cal in their first week, they faced off against North Texas, won that game 58-21. I don't know a lot about North Texas, so I can't really make a, going, wow, they did really good or wow, they did bad. I feel like 21 points against the team a lot of people don't know a lot about. Maybe their defense has some issues. Auburn, on the other hand, their first week, they faced off against Massachusetts. They won that game 59-14. This is one of those toss-up games. I believe I can flip a coin. I can't go against the SEC, man. I'm going to pick Auburn for the win on the road.
Well, I can easily go against the SEC because I think playing at 10:30 at night, ESPN in California at their home field, I think Auburn comes in and this is the night game for them. California is ready. Auburn's ready, but I'm actually going to pick California in a very high-scoring game, but it's going to be close. Cal, and you pick Auburn. Awesome. So we do have some different games. That's great. And Jared, don't you ever come at me again like that. I don't appreciate it.
Yeah, here's my thing. You say, all these factors. Let's be honest, man. If you're playing at that level, if you can't get up for a game at any time, should you be playing at that level? That's the question you got to ask. So you can make excuses all day long. It's hard for me to go against a program like Auburn. I mean, I know they're not the Auburn of old, but they are a pretty good team, and I don't know. I look for them to play well on the road, and I may be wrong. They may get beat, but oh well.
I'm so sorry. I didn't realize I didn't change it to week 2 pick 'em.
Well, we done picked them, so.
Yeah, especially week 2. And it's so crazy because some of these higher games, the ones where seeded against seeded, they are so valuable because such a short season, which rightfully so. And then you get to the playoffs, and the playoffs is only 8 teams now. It's those games have so much written on them. Excuse me, and it's hard to really judge them. Like there are so many teams that are ranked high. I won't say there's so many, but there's always those few teams that are ranked high preseason. And when it comes to it, they missed it, and I feel like we're right there still at those trying to figure out some of these teams.
Preseason rankings are always rough, man.
Yeah, especially you in the media world. And with our podcast, we're not trying to be like these next savvy media people. We're just wanting to talk sports and have fun. That's it. So, I don't want to come out and be like, this is the early preseason poll. This is the early preseason poll. This is the way too early. Come on, guys. After a while, you got to quit ranking them so far out. Michigan beats Ohio State this year. Do you really think they beat them this year?
I think there's a very good shot at it. Michigan's got a pretty strong team, man.
Michigan's looking good, but of course, the tribute that they did on their very first play where they held up the 4 fingers and lined up in the straight line with Harbaugh out. Did I say his name?
Harbaugh. Yeah.
Okay. So, Jared, I'm going to say it. I think Ohio State is always ranked way too high, but you know what? It is what it is. Mark, we are at 53 minutes. Is there anything we haven't talked about that we wanted to talk about?
I don't think so, man. We got to interview Cole. We got to talk about last week's game. We got to talk about this week's game or player of the week. I feel like it's pretty much a wrap on the show, buddy.
Excuse me. Sorry. We did not do a start bench cut this week. I knew we had so much to get into here with a review last week, pick this week, have a guest. So I wasn't really for sure at the time. We are right at the 55-minute mark, basically. So it'll be tough to get that still going. We may just do it ever so often now. Have that out there. Is Notre Dame actually a contender or another year or false hopes for the Irish?
I've not got to watch anything or look up anything about them, so I can't really comment on that. Like I said, I'm a realist when it comes to sports. Like I go in and look at numbers. That's just, I guess it's the math guy in me. I go in and look at the numbers and I try to crunch numbers and see, statistically speaking, who's got the better squad. Notre Dame, I've not really got to see anything on that yet, so I can't really answer that.
Is Notre Dame even in a conference yet, or are they still independent?
I don't know. Couldn't answer.
If they're still independent, then no, they are not a contender because they don't belong. I know they were rumored there once for a little bit that they're going to join, I think, the ACC, but they never did, I don't think. I think they're 2 years out. I don't like Notre Dame, but that's just me. Oh, we got some Ohio State and Michigan.
Johnny Lee come and say, no, Ohio State's going to beat Michigan. I tell you what, that should be a fun week then. We can get on here and go back and forth before that game because we do like talking all things football, but, of course, go Big Blue at all times. So,
yeah, it doesn't matter who beats who, Ohio State or Michigan. If they play an SEC, they're going to lose anyways. But with that being said, Mark Everett Lawson, where can everyone find you at?
You can find me on X or Twitter at mlawson15. You can find me on Instagram at Big Daddy Lawson. You can find me on Facebook at Mark Lawson. So
find me on Facebook.
It's Mark Lawson. It's a picture of me posing.
All right.
It's Josh and I before a football game.
Gotcha. Well, you guys should all go follow us on everything social media. If you look right here below my name, it says Linktr.ee/CatsChatPod, and that has all the social media links that you can find us at. And also, if you've been watching the episode, you can see the ticker is scrolling down at the bottom. On X, it's at CatsChatPod. Instagram is at CatsChatPod. Facebook is facebook.com/CatsChatPod. And we are also on Spotify, Apple Pod, and Google Pod. So anywhere, all the major podcasts that you listen to, we will be on there. We are on there. Please go subscribe. Of course, we're on YouTube as well. Like, subscribe, turn on the notification, give us a 5-star rating because we are deserving. And I think until next week, that's really, actually, I see a comment coming up. Don't want to not bring in a comment, I guess. Oh, I guess I'm going to have to, you know what, Jared, we might have to bust out backstop banter again with that. But before we hop off here, Mark, I want to show you, I know you've seen a picture, but guys, look at this beautiful cup I have. Cats Chat Cup. If you all are interested in one, hit me up in some DM or something. Let me know. We may be able to see what we can get, worked up a price for you, and get you your own Cats Chat Pod. And
he's not got me one yet. I still got my SpongeBob water bottle. So
yes. So with that being said, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in and staying with us this long. We thank you all so much. But as always, love God, love others, and love Kentucky sports.
Go Big Blue. God bless.